Hi, this is Vicky, also known as Dragonfly7673, with the Missy girl. As you guys know, the cats were at my parents' house, and today my dad was flying out to go see Mojave Knitter, Tiff, and so he actually brought the cats back home. Otherwise, I wasn't going to get them back until probably Thanksgiving, just the way things were lining up. So, and this one is being a cuddle bug because she's trying to reclaim Mom. I don't know who she's trying to reclaim me from because the only ones home are them and me. So, you could stay here for a little bit. So, it is October 30th. Tomorrow is Halloween. I know there's a lot of people on the East Coast who are dealing with some major storms and major damage. I hope everyone that's watching this is okay and your families are okay. But I did want to record. I have decided that we're going to split up the trips, because if I tell you all about the Rhinebeck trip and all about the Switzerland trip in one episode, it's going to be very long. It will be long for you. It will be long for me. So we're going to split it up. This will be the Rhinebeck portion, and then I will record the Switzerland portion either Saturday or Sunday, and then next week I won't do a Monday recording, and then we'll get back on schedule. So hopefully that'll work out okay. So I have, oh, little girl. This may be more difficult than I thought. So Rhinebeck was very good. I was going with 3 people from my knit group, Jenny, Anna, and Stacy, and I am hoping to put a picture here if I can find one. So Jenny picked up Anna and Stacy at Dark 100. I live right next to the airport, so I got to go to the airport at Dark 30. Basically, we had to be there about 4:30 a.m. So they come from a different part of town, so near each other. So they all went together, and I actually got a ride from Best Friend, so that I didn't have to pay parking fees. And we got there. I got there just after them. There were only a few people in front of me in the security line, and then we all joined up on the other side of security, and we were the 4 musketeers ever since. So the flight out there was fine. We didn't have any issues. I do have to say that we were flying from Milwaukee to Newark, and then Newark to Albany. And Newark, not my favorite airport. There are 2 parts of Newark. I'll talk about that a little more, but the part where United is, and these little bitty planes, not so good. Friday it was pouring rain, and both the planes we went on, but one of the planes we went on, the one from Newark to Albany, was a little bitty plane, and you had to run outside through the rain. Both planes were small enough that you gate checked your luggage, which wasn't horrible. But the running through the rain to get to the plane was interesting. I mean, we just kind of dealt with it, but there were some people that were really complaining. They were kind of driving us crazy. There was some that were sitting near Jenny and I, and that one, because everybody was wet and they were just trying to get us in, they said, don't worry about your seat assignment, just sit. And there was a woman that was also complaining because she had wanted an aisle seat, and she was the last one on the plane and didn't get an aisle seat. And you know, sometimes it's just not worth complaining. It wasn't that long a flight. But I think, yeah, that was the flight that it wasn't long at all. Like, they finally said we could turn on our electronics. I watched 6 minutes of something, and then it was time to turn off the electronics. It wasn't even worth it. So anyway, we got to Albany. We got the rental car. It was still pouring rain, and we had the GPS so that we could get to Highland, because that's where we were staying. It's not too far from Rhinebeck. It's near Poughkeepsie, which it was kind of cool. We kept talking about how we could finally say we have seen some of these little towns that you hear about. So we have just now seen Poughkeepsie. The route we were supposed to take, apparently there was an accident, and so they said you couldn't take the ramp we were going to take. Well, then we had no idea where to go. And the way the thruway works in New York is there are miles between exits. I mean, like 20 miles between exits. And not like Milwaukee where there's another one in the next mile and you just deal with it. Well, if there's an accident and they shut off from one exit to another one, you really gotta evaluate. And we couldn't even get off to try and figure out where we were. Well, we ended up in Schenectady, which I'm probably saying wrong, and I apologize. And we decided that was a good place to find something for lunch. I think Jenny looked on her phone and found out that there was a deli in Schenectady. So I had corned beef on rye. It was very good. We resettled, remapped our route, and did just fine. At that point, Anna drove and Jenny navigated, and it worked out perfect. So we got to the hotel. We got to the hotel in time to change, because we were going to the Culinary Institute for dinner. So apparently Laura and Leslie and Karen around the Twist and a whole bunch of people were also at the Culinary Institute, but the way it's set up, there are different restaurants there. And so, you know, Italian, French, American, there's a bakery. I don't know what else. But anyway, they apparently were there too, but we were in the French one, and they were not. I don't know where they were. But it's gorgeous. It's a school, so everybody there is learning to be a chef or a waiter, and the people were very polite. I mean, we kind of asked them some stupid questions like, what is this weird utensil? Anna had one that looked like a spoon, but then it had a notch cut out, and we had no idea what it was. Well, it turned out it was a sauce spoon, and it was so that you could kind of scrape and clean up the sauce that on your food, which is good to know. And they didn't like make us feel stupid when we said, what in the world is this? I asked something too, and now I don't remember what it was. But they were very nice. And we had a wonderful meal. Stacy and I chose not to have dessert because we were very full, but Anna and Jenny gave us a taste of their dessert, which was very good. So I had pumpkin walnut soup and beef tenderloin, and we had bread. It was good. I didn't get a chance to take a lot of pictures there. I took a couple, and I will post them here. Alright, I was thinking about it, and I think I only have one picture there, so whatever you saw, that was it. So that was Friday night. We went back, we went to sleep, because we knew we were going to get up for Rhinebeck on Saturday. So Saturday we just ate a quick meal in the hotel. It was complimentary breakfast, which it wasn't the best complimentary breakfast, but it, was food and something resembling coffee. We got up, we left, We actually stopped at a coffee shop in the Poughkeepsie train station. So we crossed the Hudson River on the Poughkeepsie side. So we actually went south, crossed, and then went north. But from my understanding is most people are go north and then cross at Kingston, and that's where it gets really bogged down. It wasn't too bad for us to get in. I mean, there was a little bit of a line, but it wasn't crazy. And we had already pre-bought our tickets, so even when we got there, we got to walk right in. We didn't have to wait for the in line to get the tickets. Hi, Pest. Yes, I missed you too. So we all had some things we wanted to do at Rhinebeck, but there was nothing we were mobbing. Nobody was running to Jenny the Potter or anything like that. Which now my understanding is that the people that took classes got in an hour earlier and got to stand in line, and I think they took out all the Jenny the Potter mugs long before before the rest of us could have ever gotten there anyway. So now here comes something. Some things I learned at Rhinebeck. So on the plane, as we're sitting on the runway in Milwaukee, Jenny's sitting next to me and asks me if I have my buttons. My DragonflySoars buttons. No. I had them nice and neat and stacked. I had the magnets, the buttons. The magnets were from last year from Stitches. I had magnets, buttons, and business cards all stacked, and they didn't come with me. Because when I'm packing and don't have time to write my own list, there is a document I use from Travelsmith that covers just about anything you can think of for things you'll need when you're traveling. It's an awesome checklist. Except for it didn't have buttons and magnets and stuff like that, because why would it? So I went through, and best friend helped me pack, and we were making sure, as I was putting stuff in, he was marking stuff off, and we double checked, and everything on the packing list was dealt with, but I never brought the buttons. So lesson number 1, make sure I bring the podcast souvenirs. Because everybody else was handing out buttons, and I didn't have any. She's shedding, and so every time I pick her up, I'm getting mouthfuls of hair. Anyway, the other thing, I wasn't going to carry around a separate camera. I always use my iPhone these days as my camera. Unfortunately, my iPhone died really fast when we were at Rhinebeck, especially on Saturday. They were having a lot of problems with the connections, probably because there were so many people trying to use 3G in such a limited space. So the vendors were having problems because they were trying to use it for, a lot of them have the Square, or there's another one. Anyway, where you can swipe your card and it goes into the iPad or the iPhone, and does your receipt and you're good to go. Well, that only works if you have a connection. People were trying to text. It just wasn't working. And my phone died. Jenny had her phone on. It was also an iPhone 4. Hers didn't die as fast. The only thing we can think of is that we have different carriers, and maybe mine was having more trouble. But since my phone died, I had no camera. So there's a couple pictures I have that I have permission to grab and post. But on Saturday, I really don't have pictures. And I'm kind of upset about that. So lesson number 1 was remembering the podcast stuff. Lesson number 2, bring a separate camera. Or put it on airplane mode and just let it be a camera, because I think that would have saved my battery. But unfortunately, I was trying to get a hold of Yorkset from Laritza from Yorkset Arts and Crafts. And so we were texting each other, hoping to meet up, and so I still had my phone on. Which brings me to the last lesson learned. don't count on meeting someone by texting them on Saturday, because we were texting each other and like half an hour later the other person would get the text. So it would say, I'm in building C next to this booth. By the time the other person got it, you weren't there anymore, because half an hour is a long time to wait. If you're going to try and meet someone, just find a time and point and meet. She and I had actually tried to do that because I was with a group, we were moving around as a group, and she was also with a group, and so it just didn't work. We ended up on Sunday we met, but Saturday was just a mess. So those are my lessons. Bring the stuff, bring a separate camera, or turn the phone into just a camera, and don't try to text to meet someone. So we wandered around. Stacy really, really wanted to get to the Bosworth spindles. I think it's Bosworth. She bought 3, and so we kind of were waiting for her because we knew that was one of the things that she really, really wanted, and she knew exactly when she wanted it. She didn't want them to be sold out. Then we went over to Building C. Now, at Rhinebeck, there are buildings everywhere. So I had said the things I really wanted were fiber optic. I really wanted fiber optic because she wasn't at Stitches. I really wanted to go to Into the World because I love her colorways and I wanted to see them in a collection. And I wanted to look at Loop. So, in Building C, I kind of just zoomed around and first I went to Into the World. And let me see if I can find my stuff, because everything's in one bag. So it's not sorted out by the order of the story. And I apologize for the crinkling. Alright, I got 2 things in from Into the World. This is actually a bat. She doesn't normally have them. The colorway is Nebula, and it is Falkland. It is a carded bat. So, there's that one. Chris was one of the vendors that was having trouble with the Wi-Fi. Okay, and here's the other one. This one is Wensleydale in the Abercrombie colorway. I really liked the way they had their booth set up. They had columns of a colorway, so it would be Abercrombie all the way down, but then each row was a different fiber content. So like be Abercrombie, so like one row would be Abercrombie in different colorways, but that entire row would be Superwash Merino, and another row would be all the Wensleydale. So it was color, fiber type. It was so easy to find things. I really, really liked that. So I had grabbed this, stood in line forever, and then realized that where I was standing wasn't a line. On the plus side, while I was standing there waiting, I got a hug from Leslie of the Knit Girls, which was cool because I wasn't expecting that. So that was cool. And then while I was standing there, I saw this one, and my friend Jenny was coming over to look, and I said, Jenny, you see that one? Grab it. So she grabbed it and threw it at me because I didn't want to get out of line and have to start all back over again. So I'm going to post pictures here of so you can see them better, not in the plastic. Alright, so the other place I said I really wanted to go was Fiber Optic, and that was the one that I was so disappointed she wasn't at Stitches. So I got 3 things from Fiber Optic. I went a little crazy, but I really liked them all. So I got, they're crinkly, and I'm not taking them out of the bags right now. I will show you pictures of them out of the bags. This is All of them are 80% merino, 20% silk. 4 ounces. This is turquoise to tangerine gradient. I got this one because it's really bright, and I know that best friend really likes the bright pops of color, and he's really fascinated by gradients, so I knew he would just like this one. One thing I didn't think of, and I saw later, both Karen Around the Twist and the Knit Girls mentioned on their Rhinebeck rehash, was that little girl, was that if you, Missy, they're not food. They're not food, honey. Was that if you got one that was, say, tangerine to turquoise, and then you got another one that was turquoise to something else, you could actually spin them and then blend them together into one big yarn. So, like, there were some that I don't have one. But I wish I had kind of thought of that and looked at it. So anyway, I got this one, which is Bitter Lime to Rose. And you can see that it has tangerine in it. So, if the tangerine had been on the outside, I could link them together. But I didn't do it that way. Anyway, it never even occurred to me to put them together. It makes perfect sense. And then you could do, you know, like a bigger shawl and make it like a rainbow or something like that. So the next time I see fiber optic, I might think more in that line. So this one is Bitter Lime to Rose. This one is called a layered gradient. This one's called a gradient. I have no idea what the difference is. And they're both listed on as gradients on Ravelry. And this one is Jet to Lavender. So, this one's just purples all the way through. I thought it was really pretty. I thought this would make a really interesting shawl. So, I'm going to show you pictures of those out of the plastic. So, after that, I kind of took a break. I actually went outside because Building C had Into the World, Loop, Fiber Optic, Miss Babs. It was jam-packed on Saturday. On the Knit Girls episode, they were talking about that some of the lines were 40 minutes. And they're not exaggerating. I don't know why the Miss Babs booth is so packed. I mean, I understand you can get the Yowza and at Stitches you can get Miss Babs, and even though there's a lot of people there, you can walk right up and pay. There's no line. And every time I went by there, it was packed. And so I did not get any Miss Babs there, but that's okay because I have 3 big Yowza skeins from Stitches for making a sweater, so that's perfectly fine. But then we were wandering around, and I realized that when I was going from Into the World to Fiber Optic, I missed the Woolly Winder booth. And I didn't want a Woolly Winder. I've got that. I've got enough bobbins right now. But what I wanted was a Lazy Kate. It's not actually Woolly Winder that does the Lazy Kate. It's Alexandra's Crafts. At alexandrascrafts.com, but they were sharing a booth, and my understanding is that they're partners. So, just like the Woolly Winder can be done in a Kromsky finish, so can the Lazy Kate. You can order it and get it custom stained, and then I ordered it there, but it's going to ship to the house. I wanted a Lazy Kate because on my wheel, the Lazy Kate is attached, and there's only 2 pins for the spools. So I can do a 2-ply, or I can do a Navajo ply, but I cannot do a true 3-ply. And there's been a couple times when I've wanted to do a true 3-ply, not a Navajo 3-ply. So I really wanted a Lazy Kate. And honestly, by having a Lazy Kate with 3, and then having the 2 attached, in theory, I could do up to a 5-ply. And in the Judith Mackenzie Gentle Art of Plying, she actually talks about doing those, so I could. So I ordered one like this. It is, that way it's freestanding, the bobbins stand upright. She said it would fit well with the bobbins, because both the Kromsky bobbins and the Woolly Winder bobbins are tall. So, and because my wheel has the pins standing straight up, I'm used to dealing with them that way. Now maybe it doesn't make any difference, I don't know. But anyway, that's the style I picked. So what I got is considered a premium, because they're dyeing it to match. But I'm only getting one. You know, it's supposed to, this way it matches my wheel, it matches the Woolly Winder, everything goes together. So I'm looking forward to it. There's brass rods. When I have it, I will show you guys more. So, I do ask a favor. If you get anything if you get a Lazy Kate from Alexandra's Crafts, please tell her you saw it on this podcast. She inadvertently gave me a little bit of a discount, and she had already written it up, and so it's just, you know, she wasn't going to change it. She said, well, you know, tell your friends. And Jenny was with me and said that I could do one better and I could show it on the podcast. So I'm telling you about it now. I will show it when I have it, and I will actually even try to show it in action at some point. So if you do go over there and you order one, just let her know you saw it here. So anyway, and let me know. She was very, very nice woman. Purple hair. So I ordered that. Then I think that's when we went to the Fold next, because that was still kind of in those buildings. And at the Fold, I got the only yarn I got, except for some prize. Everything I got tended to be fiber. So I got Socks That Rock. I got 2 of them. This one is medium weight. The color is Zein, Z-E-I-N. I just really liked the colors in this one. There's the purple and the turquoise, the brown, the gray, and it kind of all blends together. I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, but it spoke to me, and it looked like it could kind of be a guy color if you need. So, and then this one is like totally the opposite. It's like bright and sunshiny, and I saw it at a distance, and I kept eyeing it, and I finally had to ask somebody if she could move just a tad so I could grab it. This one is the lightweight Socks That Rock, and the colorway is Zest. To me, that makes me think of like orange peel or lemon peel zest for cooking. I don't know if that's what they meant, but that's what I interpreted it as. So this is Socks That Rock, lightweight. Like I said, these are the only yarns I bought for myself. Then we had the podcaster meetup, which was great. I'm shy. I mean, I put myself out here for you, but I'm not real good at mingling in with people and approaching people, but at least there's some people that are other podcasters who I know from Plurk. Oh, when I was getting the Lazy Kate, I turned around and I started to walk away, and somebody called my name, and it turned out that it was Sheila from Knit One Heart 2 and Lois, Knitting's My Bag. They had been waiting patiently for me to finish my transaction. I'm sorry, I just sneezed. Oh, I'm hoping I would cut that out for you. Anyway, so Lois, Knitting's My Bag, and Sheila were waiting to actually say hi, which I thought was pretty cool because both of them are, famous in my world. Now, Lois is kind of funny because she actually has, hung out with Tiff and had dinner with her, and so that was, I wish we could have spent a little more time. And then Wendy was Penny Winnie was nearby, and so I got to say hi to her. Throughout the whole day, I was you would run into different people. We saw Karen, we saw her in her sweater, we saw the Yarn Harlot. And at the end, I'm putting a list of all the people I can remember. And if I saw you and you're not on the list, I'm so sorry. There was just so many after a while. But, so that was cool. So when I went to the podcaster meetup, I actually went up to Sheila and Wendy and Lois, because at least I felt like I had already made a connection with them. So I started out there. Well, then some people started coming up and actually just talking and saying, Cece, who's Cece Carey on Ravelry and Carry Me on Plurk, she came up and was talking to me and telling me how much she appreciated the podcast, and that meant so much to me. Because it is one of the smaller ones, and so it's nice to hear. And then somebody snuck up behind me and gave me a huge hug, and I turned around, and it was JD from Twisted Strands, and she was there with her cousin Bridget. I saw Melissa and Sean from the His and Hers podcast, also of Keegan Lane Yarns. I got to see, at one point, JD comes up and says, you gotta go down to the bottom of the hill because Roz is down there and she wants to see you, and so was Tammy. So I got to see Tammy Knits and Roz. I think everybody knows Roz, but they were on their scooters, so they couldn't come up the hill, so we went down. Well, then while I was down there, I got to see some more people and got to see S.O. Waters, and it was just all these people. And then Karen came over for a while because she knew Roz and Tammy, and she was talking to Tammy, but then, I got to talk to her too, and it was just, you see her every week. I mean, just like you guys see me, and it was just, it was really cool. I don't know how else to say it. So, the podcaster meetup was awesome. Saw the Yarn Harlot a couple times. Now, I'm, like I was saying, I'm shy. I would have just looked from a distance and gone, wow, there's the Yarn Harlot. But Jenny actually drug us over and to say hi to her. And we were commenting on the fact that she was wearing her sweater. And that was kind of one of the sad/funny things. I did not wear my sweater to Rhinebeck. I kept looking at the weather and going, it's going to be too warm. And that sweater is so warm. I mean, it's stranded, which means it's basically double layer of wool. And it's bulky, so if I didn't wear it, it was going to be a pain to carry around. And I decided to bring a shawl instead. So I wore my Enchanted Wood shawl that I made ages ago. And I posted a picture on Plurk and Ravelry and said, this is what I look like today if you're looking. Oh, and I forgot all about bingo. Oh my goodness. So we also had Rhinebeck bingo. Took a long time to get my button, but eventually we got that straightened out. But I had people coming up to me and saying, hey, you're on my card. So that was kind of cool. So anyway, people were wearing their sweaters, and the Yarn Harlot's like, I finished it. I'm wearing it. So, and that was how a lot of people were. You could just, it was, I finished it, I'm wearing it, and it didn't matter that people were sweating. Eventually, in the afternoon, people stopped wearing them. It just got to a point where it's okay, it's warm. And it wasn't it was super warm, but it was, I want to say, high 60s, low 70s. It was too warm to wear most sweaters. So, and I actually got sunburn across the back. Okay. When we were talking to Karen, she was holding this really, really pretty fiber. And so we asked what it was. Well, it turned out it was Gail's art. And I was like, oh, I forgot. I wanted to see Gail's art. So we were at that point doing the buildings in order. So when we got to Gail's art, I ended up, first of all, I fell in love with this. And I told Jenny it wasn't leaving my hands. So this is Gail's art. It is chocolate, alpaca, and silk. It's 70% alpaca and 30% silk. 4 ounces. On Ravelry, the alpaca silk is listed as 80-20. This one's 70-30, but I listed it in there in that. Anyway, so when I've been spinning, alpaca silk has been one of my absolute favorites to spin. So, and it's soft. Really, really, really soft. So, I really like that. And then I ended up getting, this is the same one that Karen showed on her podcast. It's Alien Baby Doll. And I think it's even the same fiber, merino and bamboo. I really liked it when she had it, and yes, I copied her. And she doesn't watch this, so she won't care. Actually, even if she did watch it, she probably doesn't care. So, okay. I'm behind on showing you pictures. I will show pictures of the Socks That Rock and the Gail's art here. All right. So, I still, at this point, it was Saturday, I still wanted to get something to be a prize. So, this is going to be prize. We'll discuss the contest at the end, but this was my last purchase on Saturday. This is from Han Farm. I picked this one because it was local to Rhinebeck. You know, a lot of other things, you know, there were vendors that are coming in. But this one was actually, it's from Salt Point, New York, hanfarm.com. It's 100% alpaca and then dyed pink, green, and blue. It's hand-dyed and mill-spun. It's 3 ounces, 150 yards. It's soft, it's squishy, it's local. It's something I thought would be cool. I also, Anna found this felted dragonfly. There was actually a whole assortment of them. And so she pointed them out and I had to pick one up. So, I don't remember what vendor had this. It was along the same section as Jenny the Potter. I have absolutely no idea what vendor this was. And I'm sorry. Everything else I have tags for. This one I don't have a tag. I paid cash. I didn't even get a receipt. I have no idea who it was from. If anybody knows, let me know and I'll post it. So, I also got stitch markers from Jenny the Potter. And I really hope I find them because they were expensive. And they were supposed to be another prize. But right now we're not going to discuss them because since I can't find them, I can't promise you that I will ship them out. So, if I find them in a future recording, we will show them and deal with them then. So, Saturday night, it took us a while to get out of Rhinebeck, and we stayed basically until closing. We called to some different restaurants. We stopped at a restaurant. Anyway, most of the big restaurants were full because there were so many people and people had made reservations. We ended up at a little diner, like the old-fashioned diner car diner. and we had a good meal. I mean, it wasn't Culinary Institute, but it was just a good meal. It was filling, and it did what we needed, and we didn't have to wait, and they were friendly, and so that was all good. We went home. I think we ended up kind of sharing our purchases, discussing our plan of attack for Sunday. Sunday we were only going to have 2 hours. They were only open, they didn't open until 10, and we had to leave by noon. But we all kind of knew, like, what was the one thing we still wanted to go do. I wanted to get something for Tiff, and I wanted to go to the Sheep Incognito booth. Now, and I wanted to find Laritza. So those are my things. So on Sunday, it was a lot less crowded. I mean, it's not even comparable. It was a lot less congested. I also wanted to get an apple crisp because it smelled so good the day before, and the lines were just atrocious. So at one point, from standing in line for lunch, I actually got sunburn on the back of my neck. I think it was then. I don't know. Could have been any time during the day. So I decided I was going to start at Sheep Incognito because I knew that was the one thing I wanted to do. So I got pictures. Now, I had gotten pictures at one of the other events that I have up above my yarn shelves. So, this is High Strung. I got that one because I thought that best friend would get a kick out of it. And sure enough, he was like, oh yeah, that's you. Because sometimes I just get really frazzled and then things sort of just seem to explode around me. So, this is Stashed Away. This one just looked like a whole bunch of friends, and I don't know, it just kind of had the feel of being at Rhinebeck, surrounded by wool and friends and gathered, and it just made me sentimental. So, oh, and I'm crying of all things. Okay. And this one is spinning out of control because, you know, this is the year that I started spinning and, you know, I got lots of fiber to show for it. So, spinning out of control. I also, when you purchased, you got a couple business cards. And so this one is, and I have some from when I got some before, and these are different. So, this is goat hangers. And there's no place like home. The website is actually charisma-art.com, but if you Google Sheep Incognito, you'll find her. I also, and I'm going to say this because Dad is taking Tiff's presents to her, and by the time I post this, she will have her presents, so it's no worry about spoiling. I got her a Sheep Incognito calendar for 2013. It was a $20 calendar, but it has January to January, so it has 13 months of Sheep Incognito pictures, and I just thought it would be fun for her office. So, I also went back to Into the World because I love Into the World, and I wanted to get her yarn from there. So, I got her this yarn. For the life of me, I don't remember the color. I just thought it was really pretty because it has the rosy color and the green, and it looks like flowers. I mean, I really like the color. And it is merino and cashmere and nylon, I believe. So, I'm hoping she really likes that. She also got some stuff from the Switzerland trip, but I'm not going to show that until I do the Switzerland recording. So, the other thing I forgot was on Sunday, because we had time, because Rhinebeck opened later, it didn't open till 10, we went to the Poughkeepsie coffee shop again, but this time we actually went there and we had breakfast there because they had they made breakfast sandwiches and they had pastries and stuff and coffee. So we actually went there for breakfast. And then we took pictures along the river, and it was beautiful there. They actually have fall there. Here where I live, we have fall for 2 days. It is summer, and then one day the leaves all change, and about 2 days later, guaranteed, most of the leaves will fall off. It happens every time. So like right now, it's the dead brown season. There's a few things that still have color, but there's a lot of stuff that is just done. Wind's blown it down, it's done. The fact that it was dry this year made it even worse. But out there, they actually had color. Like, it was really pretty. So we walked around, and one of the things we had promised, well, Jenny had promised her husband, who is a railroad fanatic. He's also, as part of his job too, but he does model trains, and he's really interested in railroad history and things like that. He had told us that in Poughkeepsie there is a walkway that used to be a railroad bridge that went across the Hudson River, and in order to preserve it historically, they actually turned it into a pedestrian walkway. So we actually stopped there and walked halfway across it. We didn't walk all the way across. I think it's about a mile and a half one way. And we could have done it. It was an easy walk. It was more the fact that we weren't taking more time. So I have some pictures of that I can show you here. That was good. Just to put in, I think that's pretty much everything. Our flights home were a little bit delayed. We were a little bit delayed from Albany to Newark, but we had a big layover in Newark, so that wasn't going to be a problem. When we got to Newark, here was where that whole part of Newark Airport is good and part of it is terrible. We didn't check our bags, for one thing, so we had to carry them around everywhere. Well, Terminal A was never set up to do a lot of security. So what they did is they have security going up the middle. So if you're on one side of the A terminal and you need to get the other side of the A terminal, you can't just walk across because that would take you through security. So you have to get on a bus, take the bus around to the other side of A. Then if you want to go to B or C, you also have to get on a bus and go. And it was just, you have to go up and down a whole bunch of stairs with your bags, and it was just, and the A terminal was packed tight. They had so many gates and so many people and not enough space. It was not good. We had time, so we actually went to the C terminal, which is much nicer. And if all you've ever seen is the C terminal, you would think, oh, this is a perfectly nice airport. In fact, there was a couple people on Plurk that were like, oh, I was in there. It didn't seem bad. Luckily, Czech Girl 1313, Katie from Knitting on the Fly, said, yeah, she tries not to fly there because it's bad. So, it was just not good. So, but we went to the C terminal and we had a nice dinner at a steakhouse, and then Jenny and I stopped and got cupcakes. Anna stopped and got Ben and Jerry's, and then we went back to the A terminal. And eventually we got to come home. It was a long day. So and if you remember, I was going from that to the next day flying to Switzerland, so I was a little tired. So anyway, I did work a little bit on the twitchy socks. They were with me at Rhinebeck when we were like actually in the fairground. So a couple times if I was sitting on the bench just kind of waiting for people, I would pull them out. I have no idea where they were last time. I don't think I made very much progress on them. I think maybe just this blue section. I didn't look back to find out. So, but on the planes and while we were waiting, I did work on the Everlasting Love Shawl. And I worked on this on my flight to Switzerland too, so that's accounted for in here. But I have to show you guys. I finally finished that chart C. So I finished the Lotus Blossom, which will look a whole lot prettier when this whole thing is blocked. But it's done. So now I'm on chart D. Is really easy. It's 8 rounds of netting. It's a little dull, but it's easy. I can memorize it. And then there's several rounds of a more decorative outside before you bind off. But this puts me at, I am on row 167. Maybe 168. I don't remember right now. I can look. Oh, nope. I must be... I just finished row 168, I believe. It's actually marked on my knit companion. I forgot to look. So, I'm so glad to be done with that chart. Now, I will tell you, at that point, I took a little bit of a break, and that's not what I worked on for most of Switzerland. But I will show you that in the other trip. I just realized I forgot to show you guys something. On Sunday, I had been talking about going and getting a loop bat. Everybody talks about how wonderful the loop bats are. I don't always like the color schemes. They seem a little weird to me, like it'll be all pretty and then there's like a pop of something, and I don't always like that. But I really wanted to try one. So I got this one. My goodness. It is 5.7 ounces. When I decided on this color, I got the biggest one they had because I decided if I was going to do it, I might as well get a lot of yardage out of it. This is called Earth Goddess. It's a loop head. It's a loop bullseye bump, but the colorway is Earth Goddess. It is merino, bamboo, tussa silk, and angelina. I will say it is really, really soft. Honestly, for 5.7 ounces, it's $43. That is right in line with other bats. It's a lot more than I normally would spend. I don't know if I'd buy another one, because even while I was standing there, most of the colorways didn't appeal to me. Not like Into the World, where I love all of them. So, anyway, so I got that on Sunday. I think part of it might have been the wool fumes at that point, though. So, and I just felt like I should get one. Speaking of Into the World, the October shipment came. I am not going to do the whole spoiler thing because it came while I was gone, and I'm sure everybody's got theirs now. It came while I was at Rhinebeck before I went to Switzerland. So when we got home from Rhinebeck, I had this waiting for me. This is Body. I will show the inspiration and a close-up picture. I will also show a picture of the loop bat. Although I think you probably saw that one. That picture didn't turn out, and I was going to retake it, and I forgot about it. So the loop bat might not be any better. So that was the Into the World, was the loop bat. The loop bat picture is not quite accurate, but it is what it is at this point. Alright, I have now shown you everything. So, that is the Rhinebeck trip. Now, before I left, we had decided we were doing a contest. And it was for the Blue Moon Fiber Art shipment, the most recent one, that comes with the dyer's notes and the 2 patterns. Beautiful Necessity, which is the socks by Anna Zilber, and the Buckthorn cap by Franklin Habit. I do like both the patterns, but I didn't really like the colorway. So I decided to give it to you guys and asked you guys to enter and tell me, you know, why you want to win it. So, when I looked, there were 32 posts. One of them being mine. Missy! Missy. I'm now looking in the wrong place for the random number. I have an app called iConvert, which will convert pretty much any length, weight, dimension, whatever, to another one. So, and I use it all the time. But for some reason, I always think when I see the app icon that I get them confused. And they don't even look alike. So, I'm doing 1 to 32. I know 1 is me, but I doubt that will get drawn. And it is 19. I hope that focused. Yes, I see you, little girl. Yes, I see you. Let's see who number 19 is. 19 will be on the first page. Missy. Alright. Oh, I am not sure how to pronounce this name. Her real name is Suzanne. Her Ravelry name is... Oh, I got it. It's M-I, yes I am. It's A-M-I-Y-E-S-I-A-M. It's M-I, yes I am. And she said, I love the tan yarn and I would love to do some sort of color work cowl. So, I think that's a good idea to do with the yarn. So, Suzanne, you won. Missy, you need to go down. Oh, she's going to make me sneeze. That's Suzanne from Pennsylvania. And, so, send me your address. I will send you the yarn. Now we have this one. So this is from the Rhinebeck. And this one, I would like you to, one post, say either if you've been to Rhinebeck, what's your favorite part? If you haven't been to Rhinebeck, either what would you like to see the most if you did go, or what's your favorite local festival, and you know, what do you like about going to it? If you've never been to a festival, hi, really? If you've never been to a festival, you can just tell me what festival you think you might be interested in the future. I'm just curious. So, I will post those questions. It's a little hard to think straight with the kitty on me. Hi, you're scratching me. Alright. I'm going to go and start piecing this together and hopefully get it posted and give somebody some much needed cuddles. It is 7 o'clock. I'm actually hoping to maybe get some spinning done. I have not done any spinning since before we started doing the flooring. So, flooring pictures. I will put those at the end. I'm really happy with how the floor came out. So, I will put that at the end. And that's it. So, I will talk to you guys. Like I said, I will record another episode probably this weekend to do the Switzerland portion. And then next Monday we won't do one, because if I do one Saturday or Sunday, not a whole lot's going to change between then and Monday. So, I will see you guys all next time. Talk to you later. Bye.